Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to English in Fluency. My name is Alex, and I am so happy you are here with me today. Have you ever felt that feeling? That feeling when you start something new, like learning English, and you are so full of excitement and energy. You buy new notebooks, you download all the apps, you tell your friends and family about your new goal. In the beginning, everything feels possible. You practice every day, you learn new words, and you can feel yourself improving. But then, after a few weeks, or maybe a few months, something changes. The excitement starts to fade. Life gets busy. You miss one day of practice, then two, and soon your new notebook is gathering dust on a shelf. You start to think, this is too hard, or I'm not making any progress, or maybe even, why am I even doing this? If this sounds familiar, I want you to know that you are not alone. This is a challenge that almost every single language learner faces. It's a wall we all hit. And today, we are going to talk about the one thing, the single most powerful tool you have, to break through that wall and keep going, even when it feels impossible. We are going to talk about how to find your why. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Maria. Maria worked in a small bakery in her town. She was wonderful at her job. She knew all the customers by name, and she could recommend the perfect pastry for any occasion. But Maria had a secret dream. She wanted to travel the world and learn about baking from different cultures. She dreamed of visiting France to learn how to make the perfect croissant, of going to Italy to master the art of panettone, and of tasting the famous cheesecakes of New York. There was just one problem. She didn't speak English. She knew that English was the key to unlocking her dream. It was the language of international travel, of connecting with other bakers, of reading famous recipe books. So, with a heart full of hope, Maria began her English learning journey. Just like we talked about, the first few months were amazing. She used a language app on her phone during her lunch breaks and listened to English podcasts while she was kneading dough in the early morning. She even started a new notebook where she wrote down 5 new words every single day. She was making progress, and she was proud. But then, the busy season started at the bakery. There were holidays, festivals, and more customers than ever before. Maria was working long hours, from before the sun came up until after it went down. She was exhausted. When she got home, the last thing she wanted to do was open her English notebook. Her daily practice stopped. The podcast episodes on her phone went unplayed. One evening, sitting at her kitchen table, she looked at her travel magazines, at the pictures of Paris and Rome, and she felt a wave of sadness. "I'll never get there," she whispered to herself. "Learning English is just too much work. I'm too tired. It's impossible." She was ready to give up completely. She had hit her wall. This moment of doubt is so incredibly common. It's the point where our initial motivation, that first burst of excitement, runs out. And this is exactly where your why comes in. It's the fuel that keeps your engine running when the initial excitement is gone. So, what is this why that I keep talking about? Your why is the deep, personal, and emotional reason you are learning English. It's not just a simple goal, it's the heart behind the goal. Let's think about it for a moment. Many people, when asked why they are learning English, will give simple answers. They might say, "I want to get a better job," or "I need it for school," or "I want to travel." These are good reasons. They are valid. but they are often not strong enough to get you through the difficult times. They are surface-level reasons. A better job is a great goal, but on a Tuesday night when you are tired and you've had a long day, the idea of a better job can feel very distant and abstract. It might not be enough to make you choose your textbook over your television. This is because these goals are often what we call extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation comes from the outside. It's about rewards like more money, better grades, or praise from other people. These things are nice to have, but they don't connect with our deepest feelings. The real power, the sustainable energy for learning, comes from intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation comes from within you. It's about personal satisfaction, curiosity, passion, and a sense of purpose. Your why is the ultimate form of intrinsic motivation. To find your true why, you need to dig a little deeper. You need to ask yourself why over and over again. Let's take the example of, I want to get a better job. Let's ask why. Why do you want a better job? Perhaps the answer is, because I want to earn more money. Okay, that's a start. But let's ask again. Why do you want to earn more money? Maybe the answer is, so I can provide a better life for my family. I want my children to have more opportunities than I had. Now we are getting somewhere. Do you feel the difference? A better job is an idea. But the feeling of wanting your children to have a wonderful life, the feeling of love and responsibility you have for your family, that is a powerful emotion. That is a why that can get you through a tough day. Let's try another one. Someone says, I want to travel. Why do you want to travel? Because I want to see new places. Why do you want to see new places? Because I am curious about other cultures, and I want to understand the world better. Why is that important to you? Because I want to feel connected to people from all over the world. I want to feel like a global citizen. I want to have adventures and create memories that I will cherish for the rest of my life. Suddenly, I want to travel transforms into a deep desire for connection, adventure, and lifelong memories. That is a powerful why. Your why is not just a sentence, it's a feeling. It's an image you can see in your mind. For the person who wants to provide for their family, their why might be the image of their children smiling, happy, and secure. For the person who wants to travel, their why might be the image of themselves standing on a mountain in a foreign country, feeling free and alive. Let's go back to our baker, Maria. She was ready to give up. Her goal of learning English to travel felt too big and too difficult. But that night, as she sat sadly in her kitchen, her friend Clara came to visit. Clara saw the travel magazines and the unhappy look on Maria's face. "What's wrong?" she asked. Maria explained everything, how excited she was at the beginning and how tired and unmotivated she felt now. She said, "I think I have to give up on my dream." Clara listened patiently. Then she said something very wise. She said, "Maria, maybe you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're thinking about how hard it is to learn grammar and vocabulary. Let's forget about that for a minute. Tell me about your dream again. But this time, tell me with all the details. Close your eyes if you need to." So Maria closed her eyes, and she started to speak. She didn't just say, "I want to go to France." She said, "I can smell it, Clara. I can smell the warm, buttery croissants fresh from the oven in a small Parisian bakery. I can feel the cobblestones under my feet as I walk down a narrow street. I can hear the French baker, an old man with flour on his apron, telling me the secret to his recipe. And I can understand him. I'm not just a tourist watching from a distance. I am there. I am part of it. We are talking, laughing, and sharing our love for baking. She continued, describing Italy. She didn't just say, I want to go to Rome. She said, I'm in a warm kitchen with a big Italian family. A grandmother, a nonna, is showing me how to make her family's traditional panettone. Her hands are old, but quick. She is telling me stories about her childhood, and I am telling her about my bakery. We don't speak the same first language, but we are connecting through English and through our shared passion. I can feel the joy of that connection. When Maria opened her eyes, there were tears in them, but they were not tears of sadness. They were tears of passion and rediscovery. Clara smiled. That, she said softly, that feeling you just described, that is your why. It's not about learning English. It's about connecting with people, sharing your passion, and feeling the joy of creating something beautiful together. English is just the bridge that will take you there. When you feel tired, don't think about grammar rules. Think about the smell of those croissants. Think about that Italian nonna's smile. From that day on, everything changed for Maria. Her why was no longer a vague idea about travel. It was a vivid, emotional, multi-sensory experience she could call upon whenever she felt her motivation slipping. When she was tired after a long day at the bakery, she would close her eyes for just a moment and imagine herself in that Parisian bakery. She would remember the feeling she wanted to have, and suddenly, opening her English book for just 15 minutes didn't feel like a chore. It felt like taking one small step across the bridge to her dream. It felt like adding one more stone to the path that would lead her to that Italian kitchen. Her why had become her superpower. Now, I want you to take a moment and think about your own journey. Why did you start learning English? I want you to do the exercise that Clara gave Maria. Don't just give a simple answer. I want you to find the feeling behind your reason. If you can, pause this podcast for a few minutes. Find a quiet place, a pen, and a piece of paper. And I want you to write at the top of the paper, my why. Now, let's explore this together. Let's say your reason is for your career. We already talked about digging deeper than just a better job. Let's imagine a man named Leo. Leo works for a technology company. His company is international, and many of his colleagues are in other countries. They have meetings online, but Leo is always quiet. He is afraid to speak. He understands some of what is said, but he can't express his own ideas fluently. His surface-level reason for learning English is to do better at work. But what is his real why? Let's dig. Why does he want to do better at work? To get a promotion? Maybe. But let's go deeper. Maybe Leo has amazing ideas, but he can't share them. He feels invisible in meetings. His colleagues are friendly. They laugh and joke before the meeting starts, but he can't participate. He feels isolated and lonely, even when he is in a virtual room full of people. So, what is his deep emotional why? It's not just about a promotion. It's about being heard. It's about having a voice. It's about feeling respected and valued for his ideas. It's about connection. It's about transforming from feeling invisible to feeling like a key part of the team. His why is the feeling of confidence he will have when he can clearly explain his brilliant idea in a meeting and see his colleagues nod in agreement. His why is the feeling of friendship when he can join in the jokes before the meeting starts. That is a powerful motivator. So, if your reason for learning English is work-related, try to find that deeper feeling. Is it about respect, confidence, connection, security, providing for your family? Be specific. Write it down. Don't just write the word confidence. Write down what confidence feels like for you. For Leo, it was the image of his boss saying, "Leo, that's a brilliant idea. Let's do it." And the feeling of pride that came with it. What is your image? Maybe you are a student and you need English for your studies. Your reason might seem simple. I need to pass my exams. But let's dig deeper. Why is it important to pass your exams? So I can get my degree. Why do you want your degree? So I can start my career. Why is that career important to you? Maybe you want to be a scientist to find cures for diseases. Your why isn't just about passing an exam. It's about helping people, about making a difference in the world. Or maybe you want to be an artist, and you need English to share your art with a global audience. Your why is about self-expression and sharing your unique vision with the world. Or maybe your degree will allow you to travel and work in another country. Your why could be the feeling of adventure, freedom, and personal growth that comes from living in a new place and experiencing a different way of life. Let me tell you about Ben. Ben was a university student studying engineering. He had to read many textbooks in English, and it was a slow and frustrating process. He often felt bored and overwhelmed. His stated reason for learning was, "I need it for my degree." But he had another dream. Ben was fascinated by ancient architecture. He would spend hours looking at pictures of the pyramids in Egypt, the Colosseum in Rome, and Machu Picchu in Peru. He dreamed of visiting these places, not just as a tourist, but as someone who could understand their history and engineering secrets. His true why was not about his degree. His true why was the feeling of awe and wonder he would experience standing in front of the Colosseum, imagining the gladiators and the roar of the crowd. It was the thrill of adventure, of exploring the world and seeing the marvels of human history with his own eyes. Once Ben connected his English practice to this powerful why, everything changed. Reading a difficult engineering textbook was no longer a chore. It was training. It was preparing him for his real goal. Each new technical term he learned was another tool in his backpack for his future adventures. He started watching documentaries about ancient civilizations in English. He started reading articles online about his dream destinations. He found a way to connect his passion with his practice, and his motivation soared. What about you? If you are a student, what is the ultimate dream that your education will help you achieve? Is it helping others? Is it creating something new? Is it the freedom to explore the world? Find that emotional core and write it down. Describe it in detail. Describe the sights, the sounds, the feelings associated with it. Maybe your reason for learning English is about family. Let's think about a grandmother named Sophia. Sophia's grandchildren lived in another country, and they spoke English much better than they spoke her native language. When they would visit, or when they talked on video calls, Sophia felt a painful distance. They would tell her about their favorite movies and TV shows, but she couldn't understand. They would laugh at jokes she didn't get. She loved them more than anything, but she felt like she couldn't fully enter their world. Her why for learning English wasn't just to talk to my grandchildren. Her deep emotional why was to close that distance. It was the desire to share in their joy, to laugh at the same jokes, to understand the stories that were important to them. Her why was the image of sitting on the sofa with her arms around her grandchildren, watching their favorite animated movie, and understanding every word. It was the feeling of deep connection and shared experience that every grandparent craves. So, Sophia started learning English. It was very difficult for her. She felt she was too old to learn a new language, but every time she felt like giving up, she didn't think about verb conjugations. She thought about her grandchildren's bright, smiling faces. She imagined their surprise and delight when she would finally ask them a question about their favorite superhero in English. Her love for them was her fuel. And slowly, step by step, she made progress. The day she understood her first joke in an English movie and laughed along with her grandchildren was one of the happiest days of her life. The distance was shrinking. The bridge was being built. If your why is connected to family or love, embrace that emotion. That is one of the most powerful motivators in the world. Is it about connecting with a partner? Is it about understanding your children or grandchildren? Is it about connecting with relatives who live far away? Visualize the moment of connection you are striving for. Feel the love, the joy, the belonging. That is your superpower. By now, I hope you have spent some time thinking and writing. You should have something written down on your paper. It might be a sentence, a paragraph, or just a few key emotional words. This is your personal motivation statement. It is your why. I want you to put this piece of paper somewhere you will see it every single day. You could tape it to your bathroom mirror so you see it when you wake up. You could put it on your desk where you study. You could make it the background on your phone. The goal is to keep your why visible. It should be a constant reminder of the real reason you are on this journey. It's not just about memorizing words. It's about making your dream a reality. Seeing it every day will help you reconnect with that core emotion, especially on days when you feel tired or frustrated. Now that we have established how to find your why and keep it visible, let's talk about how to use it to stay motivated in your daily practice. Finding your why is the first and most important step, but it is not magic. You still have to do the work. The difference is that now, the work has a deeper meaning. So, how do we translate this powerful why into consistent action? The first strategy is to break down your big dream into very small, manageable steps. Maria's dream of traveling the world and learning from master bakers is huge and inspiring. But if she only thinks about the final dream, it can feel overwhelming and impossible. The distance between her small-town bakery and a Parisian kitchen can seem too large to cross. This is where many people get stuck. Their dream is so big that they don't know where to start, so they don't start at all. The secret is to build a bridge to your dream, one small stone at a time. Each stone is a small, achievable goal. Instead of having a goal like "I will become fluent in English," which is vague and intimidating, create tiny goals for each day or each week. A tiny goal could be, today, I will learn 3 new words related to food and cooking. Or, this week, I will watch one 10-minute YouTube video in English about baking. Or, today, I will practice speaking for 5 minutes by describing my kitchen out loud in English. Do you see how different that feels? Become fluent is a mountain. Learn 3 new words is a single step. Anyone can take a single step. The beauty of this approach is that each small goal you achieve gives you a small feeling of success. It's a little victory. And these little victories build momentum. They build your confidence. You start to prove to yourself that you can do it. You are no longer staring up at an impossibly high mountain. You are simply focused on taking the next easy step right in front of you. Let's think about Leo, the engineer who wanted to feel more confident in meetings. His big dream was to share his ideas fluently. A small, manageable step for him would not be give a presentation in English. That's too big for a start. A small step could be, this week I will prepare 1 question to ask in our team meeting. Just 1 question. He can write it down, practice it, and make sure it's correct. His goal is just to say that 1 sentence in the meeting. That's achievable. The next week, his goal might be to prepare 1 question and 1 comment. He is slowly building his confidence, stone by stone. For Ben, the student who dreamed of travel, a small step could be to read 1 page of his engineering textbook without using a dictionary, trying to understand the main idea from context. Or it could be to find the official website for the Colosseum in Rome and try to read the visitor information in English. Each of these small actions connects directly to his bigger why, but is small enough to not be scary. I want you to try this right now. Look at your why that you wrote down. Now, think of 1 very, very small action you can take today to move you 1 tiny step closer to that why. It should be something that takes no more than 15 minutes. Maybe it's learning the names of 5 objects in your room in English. Maybe it's listening to 1 song in English and trying to write down the chorus. Maybe it's finding an English language movie trailer for a film you want to see. Whatever it is, make it simple and achievable. This is how you build the habit of consistency. Small daily actions are much more powerful than 1 large heroic effort once a month. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. You need a pace you can sustain for a long time. These small daily goals are your sustainable pace. The second strategy for staying motivated is to create a learning environment that constantly reminds you of your why. You want to surround yourself with English, but not just any English. You want to surround yourself with English that is related to your passion, to your deep emotional reason for learning. Let's go back to our examples. Maria, the baker, shouldn't just be using a generic language app. She should actively look for English content about baking. She could change the language on her Instagram to English and follow famous bakers from the UK, the US, and Australia. Her feed would be filled with beautiful pictures of cakes and breads, with captions in English. She would be learning vocabulary in a way that feels exciting and relevant to her. She could find baking shows in English on YouTube or Netflix. She could buy a simple recipe book in English and try to bake something from it. Every interaction with English would be a reminder of her dream, of the smells and tastes and connections she is working towards. This doesn't feel like studying. It feels like enjoying her passion. What about Leo, the engineer? He could start following technology news websites in English, like Wired or The Verge. He could listen to podcasts about innovation and engineering. He could join an online forum, like Reddit, for people in his field and just read the discussions. He would be learning the specific vocabulary he needs for his job, but he would also be engaging with his professional passion. He's not just learning English. He's learning the language of his industry, the language that will help him share his ideas and connect with his peers. This is much more motivating than studying from a generic business English textbook. And Ben, the student who loves ancient architecture, his environment should be full of adventure and history. He can watch travel documentaries by people like Rick Steves or Michael Palin. He can play video games set in historical locations, like Assassin's Creed. He can read blogs written by people who travel the world. He could even use Google Maps to explore the streets of Rome or Cairo, switching the language to English and reading the names of streets and landmarks. He is immersing himself in the world he wants to explore, and he is learning English naturally along the way. Now, think about your why. How can you create an English learning environment that is filled with your passion? If your why is connecting with your family, maybe you can find the English websites for your grandchildren's favorite cartoons. If your why is about film, start watching interviews with your favorite actors and directors in English. If your why is about nature, find nature documentaries narrated by David Attenborough. The key is to merge your English practice with your personal interests. When you do this, learning stops being a separate task that you have to force yourself to do. It becomes a natural and enjoyable part of your life. You are not just studying English, you are exploring your passions through English. This shift in perspective is incredibly powerful for maintaining long-term motivation. A third, and very important strategy, is to track your progress. Sometimes we feel unmotivated because we don't think we are improving. Our progress can be so slow and gradual that we don't notice it day to day. It's like watching a plant grow. You don't see it getting taller each day, but if you look at a picture from a month ago, you can see a huge difference. You need to create ways to see your own growth in your English journey. One of the best ways to do this is to keep a journal. It doesn't have to be complicated. You could spend just 5 minutes at the end of each day writing a few simple sentences in English about your day. Today I went to work. I talked to my friend. I learned 3 new English words. The words were. At the beginning, your sentences will be very simple, and you might make a lot of mistakes. That is perfectly okay. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to create a record. After you have been doing this for a few months, I want you to go back and read your first entries. You will be amazed. You will see how your sentences have become more complex. You will see how your vocabulary has grown. You will see mistakes that you no longer make. This is concrete proof of your improvement. It's a powerful antidote to the feeling of being stuck. Another great way to track your progress is to record yourself speaking. I know, most people hate the sound of their own voice, but this is an incredibly effective tool. Take your phone and record yourself speaking in English for 1 minute. You can talk about your day, describe your room, or read a short paragraph from a book. Save the file and name it with the date. Then, forget about it. In 3 months, do it again. In 6 months, do it again. When you feel discouraged, listen to your first recording, and then listen to your latest one. The difference will be undeniable. You will hear that your pronunciation is clearer. You will hear that you hesitate less. You will hear that you are using more complex sentences. It's like having a time machine that shows you how far you have come. These methods of tracking your progress are not about judging yourself or finding your mistakes. They are about celebrating your growth. They are about providing encouragement to your future self. When you feel low, your past self is there to remind you, look how much you have learned. You are capable of this. Just keep going. Acknowledging your progress, no matter how small, is essential for staying motivated. It refills your energy and gives you the strength to continue on the journey. You are building the bridge to your why, and tracking your progress is like looking back and seeing all the stones you have already laid down behind you. It makes you realize that your destination is closer than you think. Even with a powerful why, small goals, an immersive environment, and a system for tracking progress, there will still be days when you feel completely unmotivated. This is normal. It is part of the human experience. It happens to everyone, in every field, with every goal. The most successful people are not those who never lose motivation. They are the ones who have strategies for what to do when motivation is low. It's important not to panic or be hard on yourself on these days. Don't think, oh no, I've lost it. I'm going to fail. Instead think, okay, my motivation is low today. This is a normal part of the process. What is my plan for a low motivation day? Having a plan is key. One strategy is to have a list of easy or fun English activities that require very little mental energy. This is your emergency motivation kit. For Maria the baker, a low-energy activity could be simply looking at beautiful pictures of cakes on Pinterest and reading the short English descriptions. It's still exposure to the language, but it's passive and enjoyable. For Leo the engineer, it could be watching a short, funny video about a new gadget. For Ben the student, it might be putting on his favorite English language movie in the background while he does something else. The goal on these days is not to make huge progress. The goal is simply to stay in touch with the language. It's about not breaking the chain of your habit. Doing a 5-minute fun activity is infinitely better than doing nothing at all. Doing nothing can lead to guilt, which can lead to avoiding the task even more the next day. A small, fun activity keeps the connection alive and makes it easier to get back to your regular routine tomorrow. Another powerful strategy for low motivation days is to reconnect with your why in a very direct way. This is when you pull out that piece of paper you wrote on. Read it. Read it out loud. Close your eyes and visualize the scene you imagined. If you are Maria, smell the croissants. If you are Leo, feel the pride of your boss congratulating you. If you are Sophia, hear the sound of your grandchildren's laughter. Spend a few minutes living in your dream. This exercise can often provide the emotional spark you need to do just a little bit of practice. It reminds you that the temporary discomfort of studying is worth the long-term reward you are working towards. Sometimes, the best thing to do on a low motivation day is to take a planned break. A planned break is very different from just giving up. Giving up is quitting. A planned break is a strategic rest. You can say to yourself, I am feeling very tired and uninspired today. I will not study English today. I will give my brain a complete rest. But I promise myself that I will start again tomorrow morning for just 15 minutes. This gives you permission to rest without feeling guilty. It's a way of being kind to yourself which is crucial for long-term success. The key is the promise you make to yourself to start again tomorrow. A single day off will not ruin your progress. In fact, sometimes a short rest can help you come back stronger and more focused the next day. The danger is letting one day off turn into 2, then a week, then a month. That is why the commitment to starting again tomorrow is so important. Finally, one of the most effective strategies for overcoming a lack of motivation is to connect with other people. Learning a language can sometimes feel like a very lonely journey. Finding a community can make all the difference. This could be a classmate, a language exchange partner online, or even just an online forum or a Facebook group for English learners. When you are part of a community, you realize that everyone faces the same struggles. You can share your frustrations and get encouragement from people who understand exactly what you are going through. You can also share your successes. When you tell your language partner, "This week, I had my first short conversation in English," they will celebrate with you, which reinforces your sense of accomplishment. A language partner can also provide accountability. If you have a scheduled call with your partner every Wednesday, you are much more likely to study beforehand. You don't want to disappoint them. This external commitment can be a powerful push on days when your internal motivation is weak. Think about Ben, who loved to travel. He could find a language partner from a country he wants to visit. Their conversations would not just be language practice, they would be cultural exchange. He could ask them about life in their country, about the best places to visit, about the food. Every conversation would be a small act of travel, a direct connection to his why. This would make his practice sessions something to look forward to, not something to avoid. Building these human connections can transform language learning from a solitary academic exercise into a vibrant, social, and deeply rewarding experience. So, let's review our journey together today. We started by understanding that the initial excitement for learning anything new will eventually fade. To survive the long journey to fluency, we need a deeper, more sustainable source of energy. We found that energy in our why. Our why is not a simple goal. It is the deep, emotional, personal reason we are learning English. It is a feeling, an image, a dream that we can connect with on a profound level. We learned how to find our why by repeatedly asking ourselves why until we move past the surface-level reasons and discover the core emotion. We talked about the importance of writing down our why and keeping it visible as a daily reminder. Then, we explored practical strategies to use our why to fuel our daily actions. We learned the power of breaking down our huge dreams into tiny, achievable daily steps, building momentum and confidence with each small victory. We discussed creating an immersive learning environment that is filled with our passions so that learning English becomes an enjoyable part of our lives, not a separate chore. We talked about the crucial importance of tracking our progress, using journals or recordings to give ourselves concrete proof of how far we've come, which is the perfect antidote to feeling stuck. And finally, we prepared for the inevitable low motivation days. We created a plan, have a list of fun, low-energy activities, reconnect directly with our why, take strategic and guilt-free breaks, and build a supportive community so we never have to feel alone on our journey. The path to learning English is long, and there will be challenges. There will be moments of doubt, frustration, and a desire to quit. These moments are not signs of failure. They are simply signposts along the road. And now, you have a map and a compass. Your why is your compass. It will always point you in the right direction. It will always remind you of your true destination. Your strategies, the small steps, the immersive environment, tracking your progress, and your plan for difficult days. These are the steps you take on the path, your map for the journey. When you feel lost, consult your compass. Look at your why. Reconnect with that powerful feeling. Then, look at your map and just focus on the very next step. You don't have to see the end of the road. You just have to have the courage to take one more step. I want to leave you with one final thought. Your journey with English is unique to you. Your why is yours alone. It is a reflection of your dreams, your hopes, and your passions. Embrace it. Be proud of it. It is the most powerful tool you have. It is what will make your learning journey meaningful and, ultimately, successful. Never forget the reason you started. Hold that reason in your heart. Let it guide your actions, and you will not only learn English, but you will also learn so much about yourself and the world along the way. Thank you for spending this time with me today at English in Fluency. You have already taken a positive step just by listening and thinking about these ideas. Now, I have a call to action for you. I want you to take the why that you discovered today and share it with us. Go to the comments section below this video and tell us, what is your why? What is the deep, emotional reason you are learning English? Writing it down and sharing it publicly is a powerful act. It makes it more real for you. And more importantly, by sharing your story, you might just inspire someone else who is feeling lost on their journey. Reading your reasons will create a beautiful and motivating community of learners who can support and encourage one another. So please, take a moment to share. I would love to read about your amazing dreams. Thank you for listening. Keep believing in your why, and I'll see you in the next episode. Keep learning and keep moving towards your dream.